Tonight, we're doing something light, fun, and hopefully I'll be able to cover a lot of ground so that you can learn a lot from this before the Thanksgiving break. We're going to be doing traditional 2D animation in Blender with a twist of 3D thrown into it. Normally when we start, we go to General, but tonight we're going to click on the part that says 2D animation on the splash screen. Okay, so I'm going to click 2D animation. So this is a front-on view of the screen. When you're in draw mode, here are the shortcuts that are going to save you time. F key. I press F and I hold down F and I move my mouse side to side. That's going to change the size of my brush and I click to accept it. So there it is there. If I click and drag a little bigger, now it's a little bigger. Okay. F, click and drag, hold it down to change the size of your brush. Everyone good with that? F, hold it down, move your mouse side to side to make your brush larger or smaller. Right here, strength. Mine's gray because it's not 100%. So here's the other shortcut. If you hold down Shift and F, this is the strength of your brush. So I'm holding down Shift and F and moving my mouse side to side. So let me turn back on. I hold down F and I click and I drag, and that's going to make my brush larger or smaller. If I hold down Shift F, click and drag, that's going to change the strength of my brush, which is sort of like the opacity of it. Everyone got that? So I deleted my layer that I was drawing on, and I'm going to go up here at the top, add Grease Pencil, and I'll just do stroke. And there's my stroke. I can tab into edit mode. And now I should be able to go back to draw mode. Yep. So now I can draw again. Okay. That's what happens when you delete your stroke. You got to get back through add. So I'm going to hit undo for that. So here's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go to new general. All right. Here we are in this scene and we got a cube. I'm going to go Shift A, Grease Pencil, Stroke. I'm just going to move this over. Tap into edit mode. Let me delete those points. I can go into draw mode again, but I'm going to do something different. So I added my stroke, went into edit mode, deleted the points, and then I went to draw mode. Here's what I want to show you. If I choose from here, stroke placement, surface, it'll allow me to draw on the surface of objects. So I'm going to go into my front view, and this, let's see, where's my offset? Oh, right down here, offset. This is important. You don't want 0 as your offset. It'll be going through the mesh. So I'm going to do like 0.001. We'll try that for my offset. So it's a little bit off the face of the object. Okay. And here's the other tip. Clicking here will switch between perspective and orthographic mode. You want to be in orthographic mode. So if I draw on here and then I rotate my camera, it's stuck to the face. This is how you can add that hand-drawn grease pencil look over 3D objects, like parts of a character you're drawing. You have to set it to face, set your offset to just a little bit more than 0. And then when you're drawing, you have to click on orthographic. So if I want to go from this corner down to here, I can do that. It's now sticking to the surface because I went to orthographic mode. So if I go to left view, which is the other side, I'm in orthographic. See, it's on that side of the surface. So if I snap to orthographic with this view, I can continue this line And if I need to, I can make my offset a little bit further off. So I'm going to make the stroke a little bit further off on the top. So I'm going to go surface, offset 0.03. Let's try. I'm in orthographic still. And now you see how it's still stuck to the surface, but it's not cutting into the mesh. Everybody see the difference? So you can get that cartoony hand-drawn look on your 3D objects using this. So it's surface, offset, adjust it to whatever height you want. But like I said, if it's 0 or too low, it'll be going into the object instead of resting on the surface. You go too high and it'll float off of it. That might be the look you want, because we've all seen cartoons where the people's strokes go off the character. It's as long as what you're doing looks deliberate, that's all that matters. So that's the first thing I wanted to show, and I'm glad you soaked that up and that went by better than the 2D part. I've got my grease pencil selected. I'm going to tab into edit mode, and I want to smooth these strokes I drew. So if I hit A to select all, while I'm in edit mode, I can right click and choose smooth. And you see it smoothed it up a little bit. If I hit Shift R, it'll repeat that action. So I could do that a couple times. Click off, tab back into object mode. And now my strokes are a little smoother. This works with the Wacom tablet. So if you're good at hand drawing, you'll really be able to do some interesting things. Let me go Shift A, grease pencil. Blank. So I added a blank grease pencil. If I draw here, there's my stroke. I'm going to go to object mode, select it, right click, convert it to a path. Once it's a path, I can, here's right here, there's the path. Now I can go to its bevel, adjust the resolution to make it smoother, give it fill caps if I want. So you can get meshes this way. You just got to bevel it first. So that's what I did wrong. Okay. So once it's that, I can right click, convert it to a mesh. And now it's 3D geometry like that. Everybody see how that works? So let me select all, delete. So just a quick recap, Shift A. I can add a grease pencil, blank, go to draw mode, and draw whatever I want. Tab into object mode, turn it into an object. Right click, convert to, path, hide the original. There's our path. Then you can go into, your green squiggle, increase the resolution to make it smoother. Fill caps if you want caps on it. So now we've got our path here. You can right click and then convert that to a mesh. And now it's 3D geometry. So now if I go to edit mode and let's do front view. Let's try this loop here. There we go. Let's get a couple of them. Now I can scale that out. See? Fully editable. Now we got like a pipe. All right, I'm going to delete all that. Tab in edit mode. Let me select everything and delete it. So I'm going to add a cube. I'm going to change my view over here. And I'm just going to move this up a little bit. There's a cube. I'm going to tab into edit mode 3 to get my face and delete the front face. So we've got this. Forgot to add the view. Here's the camera. So we've got this scene. I'm going to go back to object mode. Shift A. I'm going to add a blank grease pencil right here. Now I can go to draw mode. I want to show you, there's geometric shapes you can do instead of drawing. Like I could add a line like that. And then hit enter when I'm happy with how I placed it. Then add another one. Hit enter. I can use a box for the back. Hit enter. Do another line. Hit enter. Do another line, hit enter. And I can even add like a little window over here in the back. Hit enter. I held down shift to keep it straight. Hit enter. So I did a quick little thing in perspective, but it's not going to quite work the way you think. And what I'm going to need to do is project these strokes, like reproject them. And I'm going to get ready to convert this to a 3D projection. I'm going to tab into edit mode, hit A to select all, and here's the grease pencil menu at the top. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to clean up, and I'm going to choose Reproject Strokes. So I went into edit mode, selected all of them by pressing A, went to the grease pencil at the top, clean up, Reproject Strokes. And I'm going to choose surface. Now I'm going to tab into object mode. And if I rotate my camera, my strokes are now stuck to the 3D surface. So I'm back on the green squiggle for my grease pencil options. And I'm going to go to the strokes section below the onion skin. I'm going to change this from 2D to 3D location. Thickness scale, I'm going to adjust it. See, getting thicker over there on this side. Curve resolution, if I want my curves to have a little bit finer geometry. This one stroke broke down, but that's just the way I drew it. I'm going to go back to my 2D animation. I'm going to crank my strength up to 1. Let me see. We'll hold down F, make my brush a little bigger. And my handwriting is awesome. So there is my incredible typography. Here's my stroke. If I add a modifier to it right here, I'm going to add build under array. Watch what happens when I hit the space bar. It's like a trim path in After Effects. This also works when you're doing things with 3D objects. Build helps you draw things on or bring them on piece by piece. Okay? Everyone got that? I'm going to add another modifier. So I go to my modifier, and this time I'm going to add noise once I find it right here. It's under deform. Now, we used wiggle expressions. In 3D, you can use noise to create randomness. See? Now I've got some life to my strokes. And you can adjust it here. Like if I want to increase the position, make it a little bit. You can adjust it to get the look you want here. So that was just the two modifiers, build to draw it on like a trim pad. And then we used noise to add some randomness, like an expression. Any questions on that? I'm going to make a new general scene. I'm not going to save this. I'm going to keep my cube, add a plane, and just scale it up. Let me put the cube above the plane. G for grab. That's all I've got right now. Just this cube and the plane. And I'm going to want them in the same collection. So move this over here. Which they are. There's my collection. There's my cube and the plane. They're inside it. With this still in the scene, I'm going to do Shift-A, Grease Pencil, and I'm going to do Collection Line Art right down here. Grease Pencil, Collection Line Art. All right? I'm going to click off. See what that did? It added a grease pencil to everything inside that collection, following its shape. This is called the Line Art Modifier. So if I go to my modifiers, there it is right there, line art. I'm going to click on my line art, go back to the modifier panel, properties for it, and light reference. I'm going to twirl that down, click my eyedropper, choose the light that's in that collection. So there's my light. We selected it right here. Let's see the next setting, edges types right here, just above it. I'm going to click on cast shadow right here. Now I'm going to move my light. And you can see it's starting a shadow when I go to render view with a stroke, like a cartoon. So we added a grease pencil to these 3D objects, as well as a shadow that sometimes has a stroke on it with the grease pencil. I got a little time. I'm going to try my downfall, the 2D section again, see what went wrong. I'm going to crank my strength up, make my brush bigger. There's my line. If I go to my fill, I'm going to make a new material by clicking on the Materials tab. Name it. I'm going to turn off the stroke for it. Give it a fill. I'm going to make it red. Use my paint bucket. Go back here, make sure I'm on the right layer. Yep. Okay, so this part is working. We've got that working like we had before. I'm going to try going to Sculpt Mode. Press A to select everything. I. Insert keyframes, all channels. Sure, why not? Now I'm going to move forward. I'm going to press F to make my sculpt brush bigger. I think what happened last time was I forgot to add a keyframe the second time. So I'm just going to change the shape of this. Insert keyframes, all channels. I'm going to go between those two keyframes. Let's go back to draw mode. Click on draw. I'm going to do Interpolate Sequence. And I've got a drop-down menu here. I can see how many frames between them I want to create by adjusting that. All layers. Go do automatic. I could smooth it a little bit if I want. And for the type, let's just stick with linear for now. And look at that. Now it's working. So we're able to sculpt the eye, stroke, and the fill at the same time. And we're going to kick it up a notch. I'm going to hit the N key. And I'm going to go to View. I'm going to click Camera to View. I'm going to go to Front View. This is what I did wrong. Okay. I'm going to go to View Camera. This is now enabled. I'm going to hover over Hit Eye. Go forward. Now, if I move my camera, hover over Hit Eye. Hit Eye again. Let's see if that worked. Let's check out our summary. Here's the camera. Okay, didn't accept the first. So we'll go View Camera. I'm going to set my keyframes. There we go. Forward. Now it's changing. So let me hit I. Hit I. There we go. See, we've got our 3D camera moving with our sculpt happening at the same time. So just remember, you're in a 3D scene. And you can move your camera around as well. I'm going to show you one more thing real quick. I'm going to go File, New, 2D Animation. Don't save. Crank my strength up. Hold down F, make that a little bigger. Okay. So here's my eyeball again. I'm going to go to Sculpt Mode. Click on Thickness. Make my brush a little bigger by hitting F. So watch what's going to happen here. When I do thickness, see how I'm occupying a little bit more depth now? See? So now that you see that, I'm going to go new 2D. No, not 2D. Let's try a new general. Okay, here's a general scene. I'm going to delete this cube, Shift A. Let's try a sphere. Zoom in here. Front view. I'm going to do Shift A, Mesh. Nope, Shift A, Grease Pencil Blank. Go to Draw Mode. Change my origin to surface like we did before. I'm going to lower this to like 0.03. So it's a little above the surface. Good. Got that. Hit F to make my brush a little bigger. Change the strength. Like that. Let's go to object mode. See that? So if I go to sculpt mode, I can go to thickness and adjust the thickness on the surface to give my stroke a little more randomness. Go back to object mode. Just like that. Are you starting to see some of the possibilities now of combining 2D and 3D with this type of tool? And one of the reasons I like this is, like I said, you've got full 3D, so you can get head turns and everything like that, while still keeping a little bit of a hand-drawn look.